I want to know for the verse that talks about Isaiah's age or Ahaziah or what? How do you
Yeah.
pronounce? Yeah,
Yeah. Well, there are manuscripts in which there is a transcriptional error because if you understand Hebrew,
yeah. The number
they didn't
four
have
and two are
numbers.
similar.
They didn't have numbers.
Oh,
Numbers were written by letters. So a letter like Aleph would be one. So we have some manuscripts in which you have a variant reading. It says 22. Others will say 42. So it agrees. Certain just to make it quick, because I want to show you. In the Hebrew manuscripts, you have what we call copyist mistakes. That's not just true of the Bible. That's true of every book. You even know that about the Quran. I hope I don't need to prove that. So you can have a copyist who can misread a letter that he's copying, and by misreading it, he then changes the actual
yeah.
number. But we have other copies that show that the number is intact. So some copies will have 22, others have 42. This
Mm,
is simply a misreading of a copyist because no one believes, no Muslim believes, the copies are perfectly copied. That does not exist.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't exist for the Bible, doesn't exist for any works of antiquity, doesn't exist for any of the Quranic manuscripts. The exact extent Quranic manuscripts, they all have variations because of copyists making mistakes or coming over, putting a paste over something and writing over it to change it.
Okay, yeah. Because your friend got logic. He actually said that it was because Ahaziah was kidnapped or something like that.
Well, I mean, he can say what he wants. He's probably giving you that it's referring to the dynastic that's counting from the dynastic period. But the simple answer is that in Hebrew, numbers are represented by letters. So Aleph is one, right? So when they want to write out the age, they use letters. And it's very easy for a copyist to misread a letter and accidentally write in his copy the wrong letter, changing the number. That's why 42 and 22. But there are manuscripts that read the same. So some will say 42, others will say 22. In other words, when you examine the copies, you can understand this is a copyist error. And that's just a fact. And it's true for it's true for all books prior to the printing press. Even today, when you write with a computer, you write with a computer with spell checker. How many mistakes do you make when you're writing?
A lot.
Why? Don't you have technology to correct it?
Yeah.
So you expect people living in a time they don't have internet, they don't have Microsoft Word, they don't have PDF, they don't have spell checker. They have to write things with hand with an ink. They don't have electricity. And sometimes the copies of the books they have are defective. So they may see a smear because sometimes there'll be a smear, a nudge, and you expect them to write flawlessly and perfectly. That's not how the Bible's preserved. That's not how any book is preserved. The way the Bible's preserved is we have over 25,000 copies of the Bible in different languages. This is a fact. I'm not lying. You can search it out. Even Bart Ehrman will tell you. We have 5,300 plus copies of the books in the New Testament in Greek. We have almost 10,000 copies of the biblical books in Latin. And then we have thousands of copies in other languages, Syriac, Aramaic, Sahidic, Coptic, all preserved all over the world, which means it would be humanly impossible for any one individual or group to find all the copies, gather them, and then burn them or destroy them, and then make their own copy that they think is authoritative. And because of that, you may have this copy that has this reading because either the copyist made a mistake or thought that his copy is defective and he changed it. But you have the other thousands of copies that all read the same, by which we can know, oh, this copy is defective.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
But that's true of every. And by the way, forget me as a Christian. Go and do a search. The Arabic Qurans that are preserved, that are dated to 8th century, they all have variant readings that don't agree because that's how human copyists copy. They can't do it perfectly. So if that's an argument against the Bible, then all the books before the printing press, whether the Quran, the Bible, the Vedas, the Buddhist scriptures, they all have to go out the window and in the trash because none of them have come down to us without variant readings.
Okay.
That's just a fact, brother. If that's a reason to reject the Bible, then that's a reason to reject all works of antiquity. Even Homer's Iliad or Odyssey or Caesar's Gallic Wars, they all have to be thrown out because all of them have variant readings. But no serious scholar says, oh, the variant readings mean we don't have the original preserved and can identify the original. That doesn't work, man. That's only in Islamic fantasy land.
Yeah.